Hello, everyone. Oh, I need to get the webcam activated. Okay, I think we're. Let's see. All right. Let's see if I can do this. I'm back to polling, which I enjoy, but. But it can be a little bit difficult to manage sometimes. Start poll, and we're going to set this one for 10 minutes, I guess. Which. But yeah. Let's get to work on this. Kind of trying to figure out staff pathing and all of that. I'll probably do like a employees only ramp here. See. Let's see. Let's get this going like so. Then I'll just move all these into that position there. Then we need to go for twilight. Grab a portcullis beam. It's probably 2 meters long. Snap that into place. There. And we'll grab a 1 meter section. Then we'll grab this color here. We go. And then we can take paths. We'll take the staff path. So there we go. We've got that reconnected. Now it's just we need a 1 meter section. We can just get the staff path all connected. Then we'll do null staff path. That will really get us into a pretty good area. Probably want to block off some of this area so people can't see all of it, but so we'll probably put like a little fence here, I'd have to imagine. Let's see. Is there a way we can fit some water there? Yes. Perfect. That's actually what I'm going to work on now. It's just figuring out some rough areas to maybe get some water. Because we are trying to create a wetlands. That's going to kind of guide where we can put the foliage. What does that obstruct? Like the look at that. I might be able to get some decent looking. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. What we'll probably do is we'll just have to flatten to terrace a bunch of areas. Create pools like that. I don't know why it's not working. That's probably it. It's a little tricky, but we'll see. If you're in the Twitch or YouTube, go ahead and vote for what projects we should work on. It's very helpful. pond. That works pretty well. Let's see. Let's see. Hmm. All right, we're kind of getting there. I think I can accept that. I can make some banks and stuff there. So we've got foliage as our main result on Twitch. So that's kind of what we're working on. We're doing some landscaping slash foliage. This can be a little bit difficult to control sometimes. We're gonna select all these. Then I think we're gonna go for Amazon. Alright, so now that we've got our task, go to overlay, refresh. So now we work on this project. Amazon, then Amazon. So we're gonna move over from like this type of forest, but we do need some see. Let's get this going. Okay, now let's start working on a bit of terrain. So let's start over here. Let's just start moving these a little bit. Okay. Nature. Let's use cattails primarily. It's like this. And we're going to use this as kind of like a border up against that. Then more of it back here forms a nice little barrier around the foliage. And then we'll come in with some smaller pieces and make sure that we've got some nice variety. Here it's going to transition a bit, but let's first just make sure we get the emergent vegetation along the water's edge. Some pampas grass in here as well. Not pampas grass, though we might, but mostly elephant grass is what I'm thinking of. Stick some of these in and around here. also want to get some of this in. Works pretty well for like a wetland style grass, in my opinion. Get all this kind of put in place. Thank you. I'm trying to go for minimalist, but also have the it back. I kind of missed not having that kind of layout, but so I want to keep having a layout, but not have one that's too crazy. And so I made that one, and I'm pretty happy with it. So now we're kind of working on this, but how's it been going, Monkey's Tavern? Probably should start filling in areas. And I really like the Yorkshire fog grass for like wetland, for like a wetland grass almost. I feel like it works to give that more light green than the buffalo's darker green, if that makes sense. We'll still add some buffalo grass in as well, but this mixed with golden sand sedge works pretty well in my opinion, filling out these kinds of areas. So then we'll mix in some palmettos, Triodia ponytail palm, to give it a very lush feel is the idea. Some, we're gonna make this a little bit more sparse underneath like underneath the boardwalk. I still want some grass. We're still gonna figure out what we want to do with this area back there. But as far as ground cover work is, this works pretty well. We'll probably get some dandelions as well, or just some lilies that grow in these kind of wetland areas. See, have we gotten a vote on the YouTube? No, we haven't. When we're at like 10, let me know when the timer goes to 10 minutes left, and I'll try and set up another poll. I'm gonna work on that side in a bit because it's a bit more of a transitionary zone. Also figured out some lore on how I justify my save file being corrupted. Basically, as we entered into the spring season, tornadoes. Fun fact, Alabama has more tornadoes than Kansas. We've had a lot of tornado alerts because it's gone from cold weather to hot weather pretty rapidly. That causes all kinds of weirdness with wind, which can cause tornadoes, from my understanding. I'm not a meteorologist at all. Have you seen the Bald Eagle Aviary Monkey's Tavern? I feel like you have, but just in case you haven't, this is what we were building pretty recently on the live stream. There. And then something I've been building off live stream has been this, which we don't have the whooping cranes yet, but we are going to hopefully get them in a ZSU event, which is why we built this. I built a little backstage area, and my favorite part of it is we have an isolator to make sure that chicks don't get imprinted on humans if they need to be taken in for human care. And then we've got another yard in the back that's much more simple. Because we want to be basically the stud book keeper for ZSU in whooping cranes. That's the goal. We'll probably work in some blue stem as we get kind of closer to this area. And then we're going to also work in some bamboo because we want to talk about the canebrake ecosystems. Many species are dependent on them. The whooping cranes are not one. But I learned about canebrakes recently, so that influenced my habitat. to do shorter pieces of smaller pieces of Yorkshire boggrass around boardwalk itself. This is probably the limit of where I'm going to bring the foliage for now. Okay, let me set up the poll. Again, don't have to change anything on YouTube. All right, starting a poll. Poll is back on. If we all to determine what you want to see. Already the Yorkshire fog grass makes this habitat look significantly nicer. This allows me to add some areas, lushness to it. That I otherwise wouldn't be able to. Especially in these narrower areas where we've got the more non-natural boardwalks, I guess, or aviaries. The more ones we have low budget want to be ease of cleanliness is kind of the prioritized thing in these ones, as opposed to like looking 100% good for guests. I'm trying to figure out exactly. I grab Olympus. Trying to figure out if that looks good. It looks too ornamental, in my opinion. Not have this elephant. Just a few patches here and there. Say that and then add it almost everywhere. It does really enhance the look of the place. Makes it look much more wetlandsy and less grassland. You want to make more of a thicket of bamboo, really along this back wall here. I think it was this. Get the idea. Just a reminder, guys, poll is still going on, so if you want to get your voice heard for what we built next, let me know. So here we'll talk about, might have a full thicket all along the back here. Like the idea of this. So full cane thicket. And then we'll use this lower bamboo to kind of make it really dense down here. That's a thing about cane breaks, is they're very dense. Makes really good homes for like warp breeding birds, but then also rattlesnakes, specifically timber rattlesnakes, or as they're sometimes called, canebrake rattlesnakes. So we'll make some dense foliage come out a little bit further. Okay, we got one more minute on that. It's like we haven't had any votes. So make your votes now, or I'll pick. And I don't know what I'm going to pick. If you're not able to make your vote because you don't have enough time, then just let me know by chatting. And we'll reset the timer. Probably drink some water. All right, that's time up. Let me make sure. Well, actually, we got a few more seconds. But it's looking like time is going to be up without a result in the polls, which is okay, you know, it's a Wednesday night. I don't expect too many people to show up. So let's do a little bit more foliage work here. I guess let me refresh the timer. I hope I feel like there's a better way to do that. Let's just kind of make some of this through here. Like this works pretty well. Really get it up on that ridge there. Also, we need a name for like a little food stand over by our wetlands. Could be something related, cane brake related, something like that. Could be thinking about that. Of course, cane brake cafe is an option. But I'd prefer something a bit more imaginative. It's just gonna be like maybe cane brake cones or something like that. Figure it out. This needs to get aligned to surface. It's looking much better. Got our heron and the 2 egrets. Got our 2 hawks. Barred owl. That's pretty darn good lining up right there. Yeah, that didn't add anything. So now we've got this. And then we'll have the canebrake cones right here. That'll be more of a custom build. Let's see. I want to see, did the... Okay, so no, that's not the tiny tear. Okay, we still do have the tiny tears aviary, but most of them got deleted. It's unfortunate, but not unexpected. So we have a few of those we need to do. We'll need to do some more of these quarantine cages. So that's something we could do. Or I'm tempted to go to the vernal pools and rework this whole thing, because I've got different ideas for how I want this to be done now. So let's look and see how I'm going to do that. Because I no longer need all of these. So let's just bring this like this. This is all going to have to get reworked. It was damaged in the tornado, as the lore goes. Okay, so let me get the spreadsheet picked up, or have listed. It's under Trace to scripts, but it's not a script. But I have it all planned out, sort of. Make sure nothing. Okay. So let's go grab these. I want to try and give them all the largest enclosure size. That's makes sense. So let's just say we go rivers, you get this. So that doesn't really, those don't work. Let's say we'll still go for a size full 75 gallon, which is still pretty large enclosure for salamanders. Yes, also, we could use this middle space. Let's see. Make a wall like this. That tells us where we can start building these habitats. This seems more in line with what you might actually do. Let's have a row of amphibians over here. Well, okay, so now we've got that. So now let's grab those 55-gallon terrariums. And so our big areas are the pine savanna. So we probably want this wall to be pine savanna. So we're supposed to have 3. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these style enclosures. Four, 5, and then 2 of the arboreal style enclosures. So that gives us a little bit of breathing room with these. So let's make an editable sign. And then our next biggest is probably oak forest. Then here we'll do glaciers. And then we've got rivers and caves on either side of this. I hate to do it to all these enclosures, but they gotta go. But this will mean that we're actually going to be able to do much more detailed enclosures, which is going to be nice. When I say much more detailed enclosures, I mean like a lot more detailed. Oop. All right. Forgot about this back here. It's not supposed to be here. Man, I remember when I thought those were good signs. Come on. this, we also want to delete. Because let's see. There we go. Might actually be faster just to delete these individually, but you know. Let me see what's our time. Okay, we need to do another live stream, or not another live stream, another poll. If you're in either of the Twitch or YouTube, I will be creating a poll. What we should work on. Though on YouTube, it's just the same thing. All right, poll is up on Twitch and YouTube. Go ahead and vote to see what we should work on. Right now we're doing vernal pools rework, but we can take a break from that if y'all want to see something different. As of right now, we're just kind of deleting a bunch of our old stuff and getting ready for a final, just making it look nice now that I know it's dark. I know it isn't very fun right now, what we're working on, but... Hey, thanks for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Don't forget to leave a vote in the chat for what you want to see us working on. We're currently working on our vernal pools rework, but we can transition over to something else if you want to see us work on something else. Oh, why'd the overlay not work? Or did it? It sort of worked. Barely. Well, it looks like we're gonna move back to Wetland Walk foliage, which is all fine with me. We'll probably split up a small area and kind of try and make it as good as we possibly can. We've got a little bit before that. So we'll let that pole end. Building this out of this was something else, but then I thought we were going to keep the red salamander exhibit like in a full modded exhibit, but it just doesn't make sense to me anymore for it to be of that size. So we're going for the more realistic salamander enclosures, and we'll probably get the spotted turtle over here once we get the spotted turtle in ZSU. We got someone breeding up one for us. We're trading some of our offspring impala with them. What I love about ZSU is we got trade offers going around and stuff like that. Okay, so let's move this guy back. Send a zoo there. Sorry, we got our hellbender back. Let's move this back into position. Definitely don't want wood to be on the inside of this, but deal with that later. So now we should go back to this. So we've got pine savanna. For cave, we've got 4. And they should all be this long ways. Actually, the long-tailed and spotted-tailed could be arboreal setups. So there's 5 habitats in the cave. So if we did 3 of them like this, two of them like this, that would save us some space. Which means we might be able to add more educational signage, which would be fun. It's like boom. Boom. Obviously the placement is not final, but then our other small one is our rivers, which we've got 3. Boom. plenty of space with those ones. In fact, we might go for some larger tanks for those, because the river ones will be more fun, like in terms of. And then it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 long for the oak forest. One, 2, 3, 4. So this one seems like we might be cramming. Because we're also going to need 1, 2, 3. 2 more. I might put the tree frogs over here. So we're gonna have one for gray tree frogs and green tree frogs, and one for spring peepers. And then we've just got the Appalachias, which we've got one arboreal set up for the green salamander. So 1, 2, 3 of these big ones. 2, 3. Okay. Now that's fun. Let me see where our poll is now. Still got nothing on YouTube. On Twitch, we're still running the poll, but we're pretty confidently on 2. So let's make sure we just get this all lined up properly. So let's work with the cave, and let's start with something that's not super crazy. So we'll probably do spring salamander. Then we'll do something like the long-tailed salamander. Then the Mississippi slimy, spotted-tailed salamander, and then the Georgia blind salamander as our like really big ticket species. That probably makes the most amount of sense in my opinion. Actually, if I get this like here. We should actually scale everything down to that level. Does that make sense? My brain. Grab everything. take it all down to the level where this just goes to the top there. That just makes everything a whole lot easier. But I do think the poll has closed now. Yep, it has. So thanks guys for voting, and we will move on to the wetlands foliage some more. Figure out exactly what we want to do. Probably we'll do this area, but let's make sure we've got everything we want to do. What plants did we add to really make it pop? Well, these aren't plants, but some nice gravel to be at the bottom of these probably wouldn't go amiss. Okay. More gravel here. I guess we could also work on adding. Ooh, what we should do is we should add some pitcher plants to some areas, especially around the cane breaks, because there's a species of pitcher plant in Alabama that is only found near cane breaks. Let's use some of the robustuses. Pitcher plants. We need to make sure that we refresh the timer. Just little pitcher plants here and there, because Alabama is pretty common to have pitcher plants, so it works really great with our zoo. Of course, we also want to add, let's just check and see. Yeah, we want some of this, because that really works for palmettos. And while the wetlands won't have as much as some of our other areas, it still works really well for like southern Alabama region, especially on the drier areas. If that makes sense. foliage here is looking very nice in my opinion. It's starting to. No, come on, that was perfect placement right there. Some more over here. I really like this for lining paths and stuff. It goes super thick. If you've ever been down south, in like beach areas, you can find this quite frequently. So I need to finish the foliage over here. Let's take a line of surface off, because it's a little bit too much for me there. This works pretty well, in my opinion, to get this hillside really looking great. I love it when a foliage palette comes together. That I want my Yorkshire fog grass. Let's work on this area. It's going to be much the same, but it's more of a transitionary area. We're going to have a lot of those palmettos. Some of our plant palette from the next habitat over. And we've forgotten about like our golden sand sedge and stuff like that. So we'll need to add that here and there. Then I want to get this area figured out because it's right where guest viewing is, and wrapping up guest viewing areas is something that is very helpful. And then I want to work on the staff path as well to make it really look like it's being used. Something like this could be very useful to hide some of the uglier terrain features. Yeah. Been watching a show recently called what's it called? Jury Case? It's where like everyone in the show is an actor except for one guy. Which is interesting, but also the guy is an actor. Like, he has previous stuff listed on his Amazon Prime, but it does look like it might have been a while since he acted, so maybe it's more just he doesn't know. It could of course be fake. It is reality television, but it's pretty funny where they're like doing a fake trial, and the one guy doesn't know that it's a fake trial, and so everyone's doing weird things. I think they just did one for like a company retreat as well, a different season. which is what the advertising got me. I was like, oh, that could be interesting. That's right, we've got the rock work in here. Went away as well. Which we'll have to figure out how to get that back. Ponytail palm. So get some of this around. All in, because I want to make sure I get just generic areas filled out with this foliage. And let's get some like triodia. This just kind of scattered about. Then let's grab some of this. Just some scattered like wiregrass. Or it pretty much transitions over to it on this side. More trees will definitely help. Bring it to life a little bit more. Just want this red tree. That's right, we also want to do hotels. They're not like crazy in your face. You can definitely see them. Bits and bobs of color in here. We need a little bit more bushiness over on that side. Just doesn't feel quite as brought into the rest of the scenery. So what can I fit over in here? Probably ponytail palm is going to be the smallest. Bushy thing that I can really fit in. It's better. These I want mostly scattered around like here. It's a good place for them. Stuff like this also is kind of done pretty frequently as like an ornamental. Now let's grab and let's align to surface. We have random rotation. So let's just grab a couple of these. Do our best to kind of create some weather pieces, make it look like the road has been trod down over time. These rocks really gonna tie this place together. That's pretty darn good looking. Yeah. Let's see if there's any other places where this might need to go. Probably on this hillside, some rocks might be a good spot to put it. See. More rocks here and there. Trying to make sure it doesn't look too square, but it is the nature of the beast. Let's see. Alright. Got about 10 minutes, so I'll be resetting the poll soon so that we can make sure we get a decent bit of understanding what people want to see, hopefully. They want to see more me working on foliage, which honestly I'm almost done with, I think. Well, I mean, I've of course got other areas that I need to do foliage, but I guess I'm not done. Getting some foliage areas filled in would be good to have. I thought we were further along than we are. I'm really liking the way that this is starting to look. Or as we like to say on the channel, liking how it's looking. It's my catchphrase. I need to have an animated thing pop up when I say that. I need to figure out how to do that. All right, let's get the poll refreshed. See, yeah, no one's put anything on YouTube yet. It's okay. New poll. Should we work on? Wetland foliage. Wetland boardwalk. Vernal pools rework. Or tiny terrors. Aviaries. Start poll. So go ahead and vote, and in the next 10 minutes we will transition over to whatever got voted for. unless everyone votes for foliage again, in which case we'll continue with foliage. We need some trees in here as well, I think. A few rocks here and there also helps sell the cohesion between these different areas. We just gotta break up these square portions. Just make it look a little less square. So most of the stuff that we'd have to work on the boardwalk is we'll probably connect this to here. It's like an off. And then we'll have a little cafe here for like an ice cream stand area. So that's what the boardwalk would be, so that you have an educated vote. Then foliage, we'd probably work on doing this ridge here and over here to kind of get that figured out. Oh, gosh. We have this old sign. Definitely want an updated version of that. Okay, we got one vote for vernal pools rework, so that's nice. I do like to see it. Mainly because I really like the vernal pools building. In ZSU, we are one of the premier salamander keepers, I guess. We have we have one of the larger salamander collections, but we definitely have some of the more unique salamander species as well. Like Red Hills salamander, I think only one other person in ZSU has one, and green salamanders, nobody else in ZSU has them, along with the reticulated flatwoods, and we will be the second person to hold frosted flatwoods if I get my way in this event. So yeah, salamanders are something we do pretty well here at Tri-State. Let's get some trees in here. Sure, I do want to get this pretty close. Don't think this tree works as well. We might put a smaller tree of some sort there. Whoa. That really just zoomed us out to nowhere. Let's try and get a look at this from the guest perspective. Yeah, we definitely want a tree there. I probably want some river birch. So something like this. Kind of comes into play. just bring this in like so, for a little bit of a rotated tree. Also, part of the boardwalk is we need to make sure that this is all blocked off. Yeah, that looks good. All right, let's see. Obviously this right side needs a lot of work, but we still don't know exactly what we're going to do here, so I'm going to hold on doing any foliage here, because we're going to do the treetop trails here, which is going to be our suspended walk through of different kinds of raptors, and then our big bird rescue sanctuary over there. Like here, am I imagining? But yeah, that's coming along. I think we're pretty much done with the foliage here. Obviously, we have to do boardwalk before we can fill in some of the foliage. But then we'll probably, if we get foliage before we do boardwalk, we'll do something like this. That is pretty much going to get us straight to working on vernal pools now. Did accidentally delete some flooring, apparently. Oopsies. Yes, so now let's refresh to get our timer back on. Alright, let's arrange. So we've arranged the caves. This is going to be weird, isn't it? I don't know what I'm kidding. This doesn't really make sense for an interior wall. This makes much more sense. And then we'll do like a wooden frame or whatever. It also makes it a whole lot easier to fill in gaps because we have much smaller plaster pieces than we do wooden pieces. see. We can smack this in here. Just bring this over like so. We'll figure out the color of the plaster later. What has 0.5? We'll do limestone, which is probably a better material anyway. But let's see. Let's get this all in line. Plaster in. And then we can do something like this. This piece works pretty darn well for this. I hope it fully fits, but it won't. A door in there. We can flip one of these. We'll probably do slimy salamander. we'll go roughly here. So that's a pretty common species. So having it as the front kind of makes sense. Or we'll have the George's blind salamander to lure people in. There's two schools of thought. What do y'all guys think? No. Should we put a well, we kind of got a showstopper species right here with the hellbender. So we'll probably, yeah, we'll go with slimy salamander. I mean, it's still going to be a cave setup, so that's going to be already a pretty big showstopper style exhibit just to have a cave setup. I mean, I would be really interested in seeing a cave setup for them. Because they are occasionally found in caves. More likely than not. I mean, they're somewhat frequently found in caves, I guess I should say. I'm trying to figure out how we would, what color we want for these. So it's still a question that eludes me as to what color we should have. Yeah, let me know what color y'all think these walls should be. Obviously, we're gonna have this kind of warm brown color there. We'll contrast it with the dark brown there. I wonder if our ecological green would work. Not that one. Here's our other one. We have it in here. Something like that. Maybe. Just change this to that color. Yeah, once these get changed to that, I think it'll look pretty good. This will be a pretty big pool for turtles. So now we just gotta take this, bring it like so. Now we can kind of start working on this area. All right, we've got some room to work with, which is good. I'd like to grab this, and again, we're going to use the same trim pieces. Right. Let's keep going. Oh wait, we wanted to, again, we need to figure out what species go where. We might just keep it in this order for the lulz. gonna do it that way, that's for sure. Boom, something like that. Oh, that's a good sign. I actually overestimated. Perfect. Let's get this all in line. And if we don't like this color, we can always change that. Not 100% sold on the color. Let's see what a full hallway looks like. It looks pretty good. Boom. Now, of course, we gotta get this in. Bring it along like so. Make sure this is all. There we go. And we'll probably have a sign here talking about salamanders. We need to do this section. these all lined up. Let's see. Let's move this up. Apparently some huge Warhammer news has dropped. I'll have to check that after stream. Oh shoot, I should have started the poll. Okay, so someone on YouTube says we should start work on the boardwalk. So that will be factored into this poll. New poll, what should we work on? Foliage, wetlands, boardwalk, vernal pools rework, which is what we're doing right now, or tiny terrors, aviary. Start poll. So then once we finish that, that will be our last thing to work on for the night, so just keep that in mind. It's much more room for everything. Still not enough room. I wonder if I can deal without that one. That will make enough room. Looks like the answer is yes. Just barely. Make sure that gets sunken in. Now let's see how that looks. Kind of looking good, kind of looking good. We got the majority of our work done on making sure that this all looks nice. that right there, that's what we call glorious. Let's get this one in. This. And I should check and see. We got 30 seconds left in the poll, so vote now or forever hold your peace. Right now it's looking like we're going to work on the boardwalk, which is fine with me. But if y'all have something else y'all want me to work on, like continuing this or anything else, make sure you put your vote in. So we'll probably finish this island here. Move this in like here. Then we should probably get that actually in line. Come on. And we'll transition over to the boardwalk, I guess. Still got a little bit of time on that timer, which doesn't exactly correlate to our other timer, but pretty close. Excuse me. Right, that's all in line. So then this would be the staff access to the backstage right here. Make that work. That's right, this is just that, yeah. Oh well. How much longer do we have on the pole? Not much longer. Probably enough to delete this section down here. And then we slide all this down there. And that kind of gets us the feel of how this is going to work. And then we'll have to do a door. Probably either... I mean, I guess it has to be here. Staff door right here. Alright, let's work on the boardwalk before we close out. So we're gonna work on this right here. So let's grab a piece of boardwalk here, and then everything after that's gonna have to be custom, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. This is off by a tiny hair. I don't know how much I'm going to be bothered about it. Okay. So now we can do something like this. If I grab all this, chances that it all slides in right. I don't know, they're all aligned. Right there is where we'll end it. We'll just grab all of this. See how this goes. It's probably enough. impact a little too much, but that's no big deal. I'm actually so excited about this boardwalk project. I do think it looks quite nice. Well, actually, I guess we should only do this portion because the other one's going to be at an angle. That's going to be the tricky one. Let's see. Right. So this is going to be our little ice cream area. Wait, wood. Some cool Warhammer stuff. He's coming out. Again, I'm going to have to check that after the live stream. I want to get this finished. At least the base of it finished. Stand wood. Probably get like this. Now, hopefully, it's not going to be too weird with these. Then let's get some decals to match that a little bit. Because we can take the grunge ones, sort of mask that. Okay, now let's get this ice cream stand working. Maybe. Okay, now we need to figure out exactly what we want to do here. Um, we're just gonna make a little, it's just a little pop-up stand. We're not doing anything too crazy with this. Just gonna get this in here. Right, that's kind of coming along. We need to be ending this quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right, we're kind of getting where we need to be. Just kind of this would be a miserable place to work at. I'm confident of that, but I need a font to go there. Probably Balboa. See if we can fit that in nicely. Really? I deleted the B? Cane. All right, now let's do it. Hopefully this will fit nicely into everything. Not gonna have time to fade into anyone. Hey, Cappy commented. We're going to be ending the stream here in just a moment, but I do appreciate you tuning in. We are finishing up a little ice cream station. Before we do that, let's make sure we get this. We merge that, we make sure it's all the same color, which I think we want to do that. Now we gotta see, can we make this fit anywhere? Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna fit there, but maybe we can fit it. Yeah, 1 second, Cappy. That's been our major work for today. Just adjust this. I mean, that gets the job done, I think. Did not make this font, so but it is a very good font. So the boardwalk starts. Let's do a little walkthrough of it actually to end the stream out. So you really start the boardwalk over here, and this still needs some work in here. Oh, our ducks all got boxed up for some reason. Oh, and I need to change the colors on this railway. But you start coming down the railway, the boardwalk over here. This is our big duck aviary. We need to adjust the stuff over here. And then we need to do an airlock here. But this is where the stuff we've worked on recently is. So this is boardwalk here. And you kind of go down these steps. And you can just see little bits. This is still empty because I'm not sure what it's going to look like in the near future. But again, down the ramp, everything is handicap accessible on this boardwalk. This has all been following the regulations for wheelchair requirements. So now we're at the bottom of the ramp, and you can kind of get a good look at here. I think I'm going to put like a belted kingfisher piece over here because I want to like some native species, but I guess we can play with that on. So we've got some great egrets and a great blue heron in here. And then if we look across here, we have the red-shouldered hawks. And these are kind of your easy to clean habitats. And then we've got the barred owl in here. I do use mods in case it's not evident already. Then we've got more wetlands, and this is supposed to represent a canebrake, which is a disappearing ecosystem in the southeast that actually uses native bamboo. Which I think is pretty cool. And then if we go down here, this is probably the craziest aviary I've built. It's the Eyrie. And we have a bald eagle in here. You can see her right there. Now, a lot of these educational signs I did not create, though I'm probably going to rip them out and put in my own custom ones because I don't like using other people's signs. I don't really like using other people's blueprints. But if we come back up here, just saw that is going to need some adjusting, but figure that out in a second. This is for a habitat that hasn't really been, we don't have the species yet, but it's going to be for whooping cranes. This also needs to be adjusted. But there will be whooping cranes in here. I play in ZSU, so I actually have to get my animals from other players in a Discord, or through events, like we're doing an endangered species event. So this is that habitat. And then you've got canebrake cones, which is our newest food place, and probably I think it's the only food place in our zoo currently, because I don't give a crap about guests half the time. But that is going to have to be it for today, because it is late here. So if we zoom out, this is our wetland area overall. We've got one more exhibit, but that's going to be our Everglades house. And then we've got another wetland habitat here, and we still need to finish this aquarium building, but it's nearing completion. The other stuff we did primarily in this stream is working in our amphibian house, Thank you. Thank you. So we're kind of getting these terrariums all set up into our amphibian house, which is going to, which we've been reworking along with reworking this habitat because I accidentally deleted the rock work. But we're going to have all kinds of species from Appalachias and other areas of the United States, southeastern United States, Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. All right, catch you later, guys, and I'll see y'all Friday. I'll be streaming Friday.